What's up, everyone, and welcome to Alpha Beta Gold Games. I'm Cameron James. Joining me today is none other than Justin Vitale, Jason Porter, and just Matt. And before we get started, though, I would like to give a big shout out. I said this before to on the Yodo Comics podcast, to the first motherfucker to give us a thumbs down. Thumbs up to you as well. You could royally go fuck yourself. And I hope you never listen to a podcast again. And you are no different than a fucking Yelp reviewer, you coward piece of shit that can't even fucking send us an email and tell us why you give us a thumbs down. So fuck off.
Oh my God.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Wow.
What's up, everyone?
Holy shit. Where was this negativity based? Where did it come from?
I don't know, but the motherfucker listened to the whole show and then gave us a fucking thumbs down. So suck my fucking
But what
toenail.
platform did it come from?
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Oh. Okay. I mean, shit happens. Just one?
Just one. We've all, out of all of our views, we had like kind of a couple thousand plays on all the shows, and we got one. So,
Okay.
I guess one's better than. Still, you coward. Fuck off. But
Spoiler alert, it was me.
You
I had to do it.
son of a
I had to
bitch.
piss Cameron off.
Anyone
It was
that
me.
like just fucking grow a parent and say something. You like not just them.
I
but-
did. I just told you. I hate this shit. I don't even know why I'm here.
Oh my god.
This podcast
Get the fuck out of here. Wait, was it really you?
No.
Oh.
No.
At least leave a comment or something saying why you didn't like or why you were giving it a thumbs down.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we have an email address. You're more than welcome to email us on any platform, on Instagram at YMINerdOfficial, Facebook.com/YMINerd, where you can watch new episodes every Monday. But, we're friendly people. You can come on the show and talk shit.
Criticism is constructive.
Correct.
Not for Cameron though.
What?
Ever.
It is.
Criticism
That's a
period
lie.
isn't.
No. I take constructive criticism when it's constructive. But when you just say, oh, your eggs are bland, put ketchup on it, dipshit. Put some salt on it. It's a fucking egg.
Well, I mean, the only reason we do go for constructive criticism, the only reason Justin is here is because Microsoft sent us that email.
That's totally true.
Yeah.
Right.
Microsoft's
He's our
like,
diversity.
"Yo,
He's like the diversity hire.
When you're right, you're right.
They were getting pissed off at us for being too diverse. But so Matt and I were talking. Oh, first of all, is Matt still the only person with a?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure. I said to Matt before.
My privilege is showing again.
My neighbor Rich went to Walmart this morning. Two of them, one in Old Bridge, one in Woodbridge. One had 16 copies of a PS5, and there was like I think he said, or 8 copies of PS5, and there was like 16 people in line, so he left. Then he went to another Walmart that had 60 copies of PS5 and 115 people in line, so he left. Don't understand how one of them only had 8 and the other one had 60, unless he said it wrong. But I said to Matt, looks like these things are going to start getting into shelf soon, so I think it's hopeful to say that within the next month you'll be able to get it. And
Yeah, that's why I said,
especially after the holidays.
Like just wait until just wait at this point unless you absolutely need to do it because you have like kids that you're trying to get it as a gift for. Just wait till probably the week after Christmas, and I think you'll have a really good shot.
Can we talk for a minute about all of the backlash these scalpers are getting now
Jeez, it's
for both PS5 and Xbox? I mean, people loathe the people that are reselling them. I read an article somewhere. One group claimed to have like 3,500 consoles that they were selling for like $1,800, and nobody is buying them. They're actually going to YouTubers, like very popular YouTubers, and trying to buy ad space
I read
in
that
their
article.
videos because they can't unload them. They drop literally tens of thousands of dollars on these consoles, and they cannot unload them for anything. I fucking love that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you expect? Like, if you get like 3,500, like, and I think they even said it, like, someone made 40 grand in, they said, a week selling these things. He had purchased, I forget how many they said he bought. He bought like, however much it was, he ended up spending like $100,000 on the amount of consoles that he had. And then he's only sold $40,000 worth. So obviously he's still under, but like you said, like what happens when you could buy these things on a shelf, and this jerk off just has fucking, 400 of them sitting in a fucking closet somewhere. You're gonna
He
go to
learns
GameStop.
a really hard lesson.
I mean, you're not gonna, unless you try to return it. I don't think
they won't allow that.
You don't think
especially in such large quantities. No,
Yeah,
I mean, take that. So you said there 3,500. Some person bought, or some outfit bought 3,500 consoles, not including taxes. If you're just saying they all bought disc-based versions, that's almost $2 million worth of fucking consoles, not including taxes and everything else. So, but no fucking company is going to take $2 million worth of fucking returns or anywhere close to that, because they're going to know what the reason is. If someone says, hey, listen, I need to return, I need to return 300 of these things, whatever, someone's going to say, oh, why? And they're not going to do it. They already made their money. Why are they going to do that? They're not going to give that money back. So fuck these people.
Did you do that math for that in your head just now? Did you have to?
No, I did. I did a quick second there.
I was like, damn, that sounded really accurate. Let me see. I was like, damn, there's no way he fucking did that in his head right
definitely
now.
Not. Math is not my subject, but no, I just, because when Cameron said it, I was like, oh, how much is that? And I looked it up. It's like $1.75 million.
That's a lot of fucking money.
And that's just if you bought all disc-based versions and just bought it at $500. So that doesn't include any taxes or variations. That's a lot of fucking money though. And and obviously it's not like one person did this. So even if it's a crew of however many people, it's going to become obvious if one person's like making many returns at a time and again and again and again, someone's going to get wise to it and realize what the person's doing. I mean, it's like what happened with that fucking dickhead 6 months ago when he bought all that shit in Canada. He bought all the like sanitizing wipes and hand sanitizer and shit like that. And he kept it in a storage locker. And they're like, so you're going to go to prison, or you can just, give all this shit away. Cause then he was like trying to return it, and it was a whole big fucking thing. And they're like, how's about this? We're just going to give it all away. You're going to lose your money, and then you won't go to jail. And then that's just how it all ended up.
And you learn a very hard lesson in the process.
Yeah. So
is that guy ever going to do that shit again? No.
No,
if these guys if this group is stuck with 3,500 PS5s, are they ever going to try to do that again when the PS6 comes out? No.
Yeah, no. Listen, it's okay to buy. I said it on like probably every the last couple episodes. It's okay to buy these things, and if you want to resell it and you mark it up $50, $100, something like that, that's okay. That's within reason for resell because you want to make a profit. But when you're scalping, it's fucked up. And no one should pay $1,000 for one of these things, or $1,500, or what the fuck ever. So,
I mean, how do you fix it next time?
So Best Buy was starting to do, I don't know if I mentioned this on the last one, but there was a round of Best Buy pre-orders or just like purchases they did probably like 2 weeks ago now, where when you signed on and you were logged in, it was basically like you added the item to your cart. It to essentially weed out any bots. It sent it did a text message verification. So you had to get the verification code and then enter that. And then when you entered that, it put you into like a waiting room. So then I was on the PS5 subreddit, and people were jumping with fucking joy. Like, oh my God, I got on Best Buy. This was the smartest thing they could have done. I got my console. It's going to be here like next week. So everybody should start doing that. Text message verification codes, or fucking they call you and they have a robot read you that 6-digit code or whatever, and then they put you into a queue in a waiting room, and that's it. I mean, that's what Sony's been doing the whole time too. Like, I don't think Sony Direct doesn't do any, like it doesn't, I don't think there's any issues with bots really there, because every time you go and you're waiting, like you want to get one, you're put into a queue, you're in a waiting room. So you have to be physically present to be getting it. So.
Yeah, no,
that's one solution.
I know. I also heard someone say they think that next time, 7-8 years from now, they do it again, they should be releasing the consoles in the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, just for a standpoint of like, hey, if you do it in the summer, at least you'll have a stock by the holiday season, which makes sense because, again, the amount of money that I think these guys are probably losing, like just for some asshole scalper to go and buy 40 of them. I know they're still making the money anyway, but then the scalper guy or girl group, whatever you want to call them, is making back, $700-800 on top of it. So it's kind of bullshit. But
yeah,
the only thing that kind of worries me about that, and this might be just me overanalyzing a little bit, but if they know that if you're Sony, if you're Microsoft, and you see that scalpers are able to get fucking $700, $800, even close to $1,200 for the system. Does that mean next system's going to be up there in price to $700 or $800?
I don't think so. I think with what we're seeing now with the scalpers being able to sell it that much, it's just people who want it. They're the early adopters. The people who have to have it for no other reason than just to say they have it. The people with the disposable incomes who don't mind that dropping their extra couple $100 or double the price even just to have something, the new hot item. I can't see the big companies justifying the inflation in price just to turn revenue. I don't think so.
I mean, who knows money will inflate anyway, probably in the next 8 years. So it will be interesting to see, like, $500, if they do $500, it could be equivalent to only like $200 now. If that makes, could go up. So I think I did that math right. I don't know, whatever, but it'll be interesting to see. So early predictions, cost of next gen console.
Exactly the same as this gen.
I would say between 5 and 7. I can't see it ever going higher than 7, because then you're tiptoeing into the PC realm at that point, and these consoles are getting better and better, but I mean, truth of the matter is that people who play on PC, they have the high end equipment. Like, there's nothing that a console can compete with against that, and no matter what it is, how powerful it is, how new it is, those computers are just always top of the line. So I think for the average gamer, average console gamer, I think 5 to 7 at the absolute high end. Wasn't the PS3 like 6 when it came out? It was, right?
The 80 gig one was $1,000. That was what ruined it. That thing, it was with there was one that was like $800 or $900, and then with taxes and everything,
waffle iron thing, right?
That was Sony learned their fucking mistake real hard with that launch of those consoles, big time. They wanted some really powerful shit, and the price tag was way too fucking high. So I think that's the case in point for too high of a fucking price tag. No one's going to buy it. Do
you think we'll ever see consoles where you'll be able to replace the parts like a PC?
Maybe.
I think Microsoft would be more inclined to do something like that over Sony. I think if we see any company do it, I think Microsoft would do it before Sony.
It would be a lot easier for Microsoft to do it just for the stake that they have in the rest of the industry right now, as far as computer parts go. Yeah, I mean, they're already half in on that. They do computers. That's what they do. So this is a totally separate division. And I mean, I know Sony has done and they still do TVs and stuff, but they've pretty much gotten out of a lot of other industries. They don't do computers anymore. I don't think they do laptops anymore. I think that business closed down a couple of years ago. So this is
Vios. Don't they still make Vios?
I don't think so. I thought I heard that they sold off or they just got rid of it because it wasn't really doing much. And I know they still kind of do phones and whatnot, but the PlayStation, I think, is that division, their gaming division, is their big thing now. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the next thing for Microsoft allows you to have the ability to swap out components, but then that also could become a problem, because then you either have all the parts and things you're swapping out are going to have to be first party, or they're going to have second and third party options, but then they're all going to have to be approved, and it's going to be a really lengthy process to make sure that everybody's on the level of compatibility with this thing. So it's a lot of logistics, I guess. And then at that point, if Microsoft really starts doing that with everything interchangeable, at what point do they just the Xbox, not as a console? At what point do they market it as an actual gaming computer? Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how Xbox got its damn name. It was essentially they were just shipping the DirectX freaking video card in it, and that's how they came to to make the name Xbox, just because of the DirectX, and they packed it and they shipped it and put a behemoth of a controller in the box with it, and they sent it out. The Duke. Yeah, the weirdest looking controller ever. Oh my god! One of
boomerang. Yeah, it was weird.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
That was a strange concept. I mean,
Still remember the white and black buttons
on the Boomerang?
No, on the
Duke,
on
the
the
original
yeah.
Xbox controller. There was all the regular buttons, and then there was the white and black buttons.
Yeah, they're now the bumper buttons because we didn't have bumpers then. That was on 360 when that happened.
Yeah.
Really? The original Xbox controller didn't have the.
It had triggers. It didn't have bumpers.
Yeah, just 2 triggers. The 4 directional, like a directional pad. The 4 cardinal buttons. I don't know what the fuck you want to call them, and then they had the white and black buttons.
Yep.
Oh my God, you're right. That's so weird. I'm like, look at the phone now, dude. You can buy the original controller for $20 on eBay.
No, you can buy one for your Xbox One. Or
they redid it. They re-released it recently.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
The Duke.
That's the thing's a monster.
The Duke.
The Duke.
But no, I was saying another thing interesting. Just speaking of like design and stuff like that, and upgrade. And Matt actually sent a link over. I think it was in the group chat about the possible of Sony patenting a new design for the PS5 already.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Justin?
I was gonna say he sent it to me too. I can see them doing that already. Like I mean, like there's gonna be a PS5 Pro. There's going to be Xbox is going to have a Series XXX, like we said a couple weeks ago. Like there's going to be something in the middle.
Really?
Of the generation.
You think that?
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's I mean that's just, I didn't fully read the actual article. I just kind of skimmed it. Did it actually show what a design concept was? Did it talk about it, Matt, or do you know?
I think it was essentially just they're saying that it will have a dual CPU, so it'll essentially just be two CPUs. That's, I mean, you're just going to double up on it. But then that also is kind of fucking scary because then if this thing is this big now, how much bigger is this bitch going to get if you're fucking slapping 2 CPUs into this? Unless they've
with another heat
already, unless they've already cracked the case on, making it smaller while also adding in double the power, which would be another really impressive engineering feat either way for either console. I just don't see that as being realistic. So it's going to have to be maybe slightly bigger than this shit to get that going.
I actually do think that's realistic for as long as the PS5 has been in development. And even though the design we got was like the latest iteration of what they had, it's still the latest iteration of what they had 8 months ago, 10 months ago. How much advancement in technology has happened in the last 10 months? How many different prototypes have they been running under whatever code name? So I think it's very realistic that we would see something come out that would, look at the PS4 Pro versus the PS4. The PS4 was a beast. And then, a couple years later, boom, PS4 Pro comes out. It's smaller. Oh, and by the way, it can do this, this, and this.
Was it smaller?
Right. The Pro?
Yeah.
The Pro is slightly bigger than the.
I thought
essentially you added an extra layer.
I thought it was slightly narrower.
No, not really. No, I mean basically when you look at it, you essentially put another. Because I'm like leaning over to look at mine. You added another layer on top of it. It's like you had an Oreo cookie and you added a fucking another thin layer of the cream filling and another actual cookie on top of that. It's slightly bigger, but it's not. Like people were like, the Pro's huge. It really was not that much of an increase in size. So who knows? Maybe they released the PS5 Pro and they just got to the point where the development's so good, it's the same exact size as this and it's twice as powerful, which would also be fine. People are already saying like, it's huge, but if I could get twice the power and it's the same size, then okay, that's fine. But if they could even make it even smaller, that's more impressive just from a design standpoint to keep consolidating everything, but also adding power. But any kind of announcement like that is probably 2 years away, comfortably, maybe even longer.
I mean, it seems like, because did the Xbox change size when it did that weird midway flop last year?
Yes. Yes, it did.
It did?
It did. It got smaller, yeah.
So, I mean, the Xbox, if they come out with
The Xbox One was massive, and then they did the Xbox Series S, which was a smaller
one.
It's smaller, yeah, it's small, but it's way
and then
more.
I think the Series X was like the same size, like more or less. It wasn't much. I don't think there was much difference in the size of those things.
The Series X, the one that's now.
No. I'm sorry. The Xbox One X. Sorry, wasn't much bigger than the Xbox One S.
Justin, which one do you have?
Jesus fucking Christ, these names are so
I have an
stupid.
Xbox One.
I have an Xbox.
I have one Xbox One Xbox One box.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have no idea what that even.
I have I have a launch day Xbox One, and then I have the high end, the 4K One X.
God.
that precedes the current generation hardware.
Yes.
Okay, but that's why I don't think there was any difference really in size between what
they're
you have
relatively
and
the
the
same.
S.
Like,
they're pretty much yeah.
I mean, my thing is like the Xbox Series X, the new one. Obviously, the Xbox Series S is probably not going to be around in the next freaking 3 or 4 years. But the X, it seems to have a pretty good size. Like everyone seems to like the size of it and the design structure of it. So if they come up with a new a pro version of it, what do you see them doing with the box itself?
It's gonna look like that monolith.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that, man. I was right there with you on that. I was like, somebody better pull the trigger on this right now.
It's gonna look like the monolith. It's gonna just be this fucking spire, and there's just gonna be a bunch of chimpanzees like worshiping it.
Oh my God.
Is that really what we think it's gonna look like?
Absolutely, yeah.
What?
Or it's gonna be a double wide. It's gonna look like I saw somebody take a picture of. They took a picture of their Series X, and they put Kingpin's head on it from Spider-Verse.
I saw that.
Where he's just fucking that. It's just going to be double wide instead of. It's not going to get taller. It's just going to be twice the size.
You know, historically looking at what Microsoft has done with their consoles, whenever they release a updated version of the current gen, you know, it doesn't really change too much in the shape. Like, I mean, obviously they sleek it out a little bit, but the relative dimensions are more or less the same. You know, even with the 360, for crying out loud, that didn't change. I'm trying to think, did I have one of those fucking? No, I don't think I had it.
I have on the other room.
Like the original one.
No, they maintained that same general
they did,
like
right?
like almost like trapezoidal kind of shape. I mean, the PlayStation before did the same thing. It came out. It looked like and then they did the Slim, which was just slightly smaller and more rounded on the edges. And then the Pro came out, which just added another layer. I mean, there's always going to be a thing. It's not going to look like something totally different. You know,
I think the biggest console change design was probably the PS2 to the PlayStation 2 Slim.
Well, that was literally you went from what looked like a console to a DVD player.
Right,
I mean, the PS2 Slim was ridiculously
that thing was small.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
That thing's about the size of my tablet. Like,
yeah,
you know, that thing was actually probably smaller than this fucking tablet.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest change that we've seen recently.
Yeah.
Other than freaking Nintendo locking the Joy-Cons on the fucking Switch, which isn't really a change. It's just a weird decision, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But all right, so let's get into our topics today. Justin actually came up with this script, so thanks, Justin, for coming up with this one.
The first one, yes. The second one I said in jest, so I don't know how strongly I feel about what's going to happen with that second one.
All right, we're going to start off with could arcades ever make a comeback? You know, you see a lot of these yestercade things. I guess I'm going to use yestercade because it's down in Red Bank there. You know, coming out with all these old arcade machines. And I don't know how they're doing financially. I know you pretty much go, you pay like $10 and you can play like unlimited, you know, arcade games, and they have like the air hockey, but now they're putting in consoles. Like you can go and play Xbox, you can play PlayStation there, Switch, Wii, whatever fuck you want to play. So it's like, will we ever see actual arcades come back like they were when we were kids back in the 90s? And if it does, what would it look like and how would it, you know, run? Justin, I'll start with you on this one.
So, like, yeah, I just want to touch on what you said there. You know, we have yestercades here in Red Bank, but you got to look at, you know, Dave and Buster's, huge fucking company, huge fucking, you know, they primarily base themselves off of an adult Chuck E. Cheese. You know, it's just, you know, we've been there, you and I've been there, and like, it's a blast. You know, it's got that atmosphere, that entertainment, and I can bring my beer with me and walk around. That for me was one of the coolest experience I ever had when I first walked into one of those. I was like, holy shit! I'm a kid, but I'm an adult, and I'm gonna do stupid, reckless things as an adult in a safe area. But for me, the experience of going to that arcade, whether it was, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Killer Instinct, you know, all these Primal Rage, all these old, like, not necessarily, those are all fighting games, but like there's a lot of games that came out and you know, there was side scroll beat 'em ups, the X-Men games, Turtles in Time, Final Fight.
I don't know if it was an arcade game yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like the experience of going there and then just absolutely fucking housing either somebody else or the game, and then the crowd of people coming around behind you, and like they take their quarter away because they don't want to get their ass beat and waste their money like that. That experience is something that we don't really see anymore, or get to experience like ever. And it was such a I, it was such an important, not important, but it was such a cool thing to grow up around and be a part of.
I think it was
then,
important.
yeah, because like I mean, it was huge for not only for the industry, but like damn was it
Socially,
awesome.
socially
It
interacting.
was fucking awesome to fucking be on that machine with only 50 cents in there and beating someone's ass every fucking time they came up, and I loved it. Like my dad would give me $1 and it would last me 2 hours. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm still playing. Leave me alone. Get out of here."
Yeah, Jason, what do you think?
Yes, they will definitely come back. Just because it's a retro thing. In retro, it everything always comes full circle. I don't know when it will come back. I don't know if it'll be in the next 5 years or the next 10 years. But yeah, definitely. Look at vinyl now. Vinyl hasn't been a really great storage medium for music since the 70s. With everything we have available right now, we have people that only buy vinyl. So I think within the next 10 years, definitely, I don't know when in the next 10 years, but sometime within the next 10 to 15 years, you're absolutely going to see it come back. Just for, the guys like us that want, the nostalgia. Look at pinball machines now. Some people are like very into collecting pinball machines. I think arcade machines, like our actual arcade games, that's going to be just the logical progression of what certain age groups want to, or what certain generations want to collect.
Yeah, I don't get the pinball thing. I don't.
Neither do I.
I don't get the hype around pinball. I was never into pinball. Like to me, it's like people are like, oh, if you do this, it activates that. Like what? Like I would just click the fucking buttons until I lost 30 seconds out.
Yeah, I was in the generation after I was after the pinball generation. So like I never had them growing up. My father played a ton of pinball when he was, my age, like through his 20s, 30s, teens, whatever. But I was in the arcade generation.
I had so I grew up in a unique situation. Like I said, my dad used to bring us to the mall when we were kids. I go to the arcade, blah, blah, blah. But I also, my father owned a restaurant, and he had pinball machines in the restaurant. And I remember going there on the weekends before the restaurant's even open. He dumps out a bunch of quarters, and I just sat there, pulled up a bar stool. I got my soda next to me.
Hope it wasn't Coke.
No, it was birch beer out of the keg. It was awesome. And
As long as it wasn't the Coca-Cola product.
yeah.
Awesome.
So, like, and I remember playing these machines like in the early 90s. I was like 9, 10, 11 years old. Like, and it just, I'm glad I got to experience that because, like you were saying, Cameron, you just don't get it. But like, I was exposed to that growing up, and like that, the sounds, the lights, the experience of just clicking those friggin' buttons and just getting it and getting better and learning. Oh, if you can hit that ball up over there, it's gonna do X, Y, and Z. And what multi-ball's a thing? Like it just got fucking wild. And the eye-hand coordination you needed to have on that was just fucking wild. It was definitely enjoyable. So now, when my dad and I hang out, we go down to Asbury. We go to the pinball museum. He has a good time in there because there's a lot of nostalgia in there, not only for me but for him. And that's so like for us it was arcades. Coin-op arcades with primarily in the 90s. But if you look at the older generation, there was Pac-Man, there was Asteroids, pinball even before that. So like I mean. I guess every generation has had that thing that we're all looking back. Is it ever going to come back? I don't think pinball could ever come back because those cabinets are huge. Like they take up a lot of real estate, and if they're not turning a profit, I can't see it being anything that's going to help a business. It's only going to hurt it. Arcade cabinets these days, flat panel TVs, Raspberry Pi computers. You could just slap one together with friggin' stuff you buy at Walmart nowadays. So like. You know, it's.
So you think if the arcades come back, it's going to look like it did when we were kids going in there with actual cabinets and games, like old school games, or do you think we'll start to see, kind of a development of new? Like, will they do another Turtles in Time, and it's just like a fucking enhanced version of it?
Right, but like that, and that's the debate of the topic here. Like, what is preventing a company from who would release something like that? Why would they not just release it for a home console? What experience? Why give the experience out in a public machine that you're not going to do at home? I think that's why these arcades all went away, is because these consoles we have at home now they just crush the experience. Like we online gaming and everything it's a thing. But like I think it could be like both. Like, I mean, they could release a Turtles in Time sequel, or something else that we could experience there in the arcade, but also we can go home and play it. Like it's just, but the
They probably would make more money on the arcade itself.
See, like I think Dave and Buster's has the right model with that. Like you're charging people to play the games, but you're also inviting them in for food and drink. And as we all know, there's profit margins in food and especially drinks. You know what I mean? Like if they got beer and bottled liquor and shit like that, and they're making mixed drinks, they're making a boatload of cash off of that. That's the entertainment value is just bundled into the dining experience, which is what I think works for them as a business model.
So one of the things I liked about the arcade, though, was you had the arcade games, and then you had the arcade simulators. You had the flight simulators and stuff like that. Afterburner, I think, was a good one where you weren't just standing in front of a machine, putting in a quarter and, using your hands and everything. You actually sat down and you had your hands on a throttle and you were piloting the plane. And at certain ones, certain machines, certain simulators, as you were like pitching forward and rolling, you were actually pitching forward and rolling back because of the gyros on this thing. So, I mean, you can't get that experience unless you have a boatload of cash to just like buy one of them and drop it in your garage or drop it in your basement.
Even the snowboard ones. Remember like the snowboard one or the skiing one or the skateboard one?
You're there and you're standing, same concept. You're standing and you have to hold your balance on it, but there are gyros on the board that you're standing on that will pitch you back and forth. Yeah.
But now you kind of see these, like there's one in Wall that just went up right across the street from me, Mom's. They have these new virtual reality, like arcade things where you go and you spend a certain amount of money and you go in a virtual reality thing. It's like, what's the difference? Like that, there's no way that's going to be the new arcade. You're not going to go and freaking spend money on a virtual reality thing when you can buy the fucking virtual reality Quest for $200 or whatever the fuck it is, or the PlayStation.
Yeah, like $300.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. So, I mean, I think that I think the only way arcades can come back is by doing something like you said, Justin, where it's like the Dave & Buster's or the I Play America. But when does that? I guess what's the age limit that's going to appreciate that? Will it always be there, or is it like after our generation? It's kind of like now what? Like, is an 18-year-old now going to appreciate going to, that type of thing in 10, 15 years.
I think that age, specifically from like 16 to 20, I'm just going to use that little age right there. They are too busy living and being reckless for the most part. The younger kids are going to love an experience where you can sit down, like they have it in Dave & Buster's, they have it in other places where you get the sit down driving games, the Mario Kart, if you will, cruising.
Yeah, remember we owned that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you guys were on it all night. You, Matt, and whoever else was there.
I had a great time, but as adults, we love that because it's nostalgia for us, but it's also fun because we're not taking ourselves seriously. You know what I mean? Like, and then you have the younger kids who just want the experience of, oh my God, I'm driving a car and this is awesome. And I'm kicking my dad's or my mom's ass right now. And I'm literally owning them. But then I think the 16 to 20-year-old demographic group, they are too busy, on their phones. They're too busy going out in the world, doing whatever that older teenage youths they're doing these days.
Videos.
The TikTok videos, you know what I mean? Like they're engaged, that's that age where you're finding out about yourself and other people and who you really are and what you're doing in your life. You're not going to the arcade. You're just not. I did when I was that age, but like these days, no.
Right. But I guess my question for you guys is after our generation, like born in like the 80s, is it is like if you were born in like the 2000s, would you really appreciate an arcade cabinet like we do? Because they didn't have that original like, hey, the only way, which is going to kind of be a good leeway into our next thing. The only way you could really play co-op with your friends back in the day was either A, sitting at your friend's house, or B, going to the arcade with $10 and sitting in, you know, on Turtles in Time, on Xbox or X-Men, on fucking, you know, Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom. So, you know, those people, like if you're born in 2000s, even if you're born, you know, 2010, your version of couch co-op was fucking Fortnite Online. You know, there's exactly, Matt, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like there is no couch co-op. And, you know, even you could say, like, again, this is going to lead perfectly into the next topic. Like, what was the founding fathers of couch co-op for you guys? Like, what would you say if you were making your Mount Rushmore of couch co-op? What would be on it? Because do you go back as early as like Atari and say Pong has to be on there? Or do you start off and say like GoldenEye was where it started? Because yeah, you can say that obviously you had Super Mario and, you know, Super Mario World where you each went one at a time. You know, I think Donkey Kong, I remember you would like, if I was playing and Justin, you were playing, you could like tag yourself in without me like even knowing it or something.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country.
Like that. Yeah. It was, you know, so it's like where did it all start, and where would you guys say, like, what would you put on your Mount Rushmore? Who wants to start here? I know I just kind of sprung this Mount Rushmore thing on you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I thought about it after I was reading. I was like, wait a minute, fucking founding fathers Mount Rushmore. What the fuck do you put on there? You know, I think you have to put Pong on there. I think it has to.
Yeah, but you're so like the couch co-op, right? So you're talking cooperative play, right? Pong is a competitive game in nature, right? So
we're ignoring that. We're saying it can't be a competitive thing.
It depends on the generation.
What do you mean?
So I think for us, for everyone on this line, I don't know if we would go back to Pong. Our parents,
no.
Absolutely, yes. Us, the four of us right here. I don't know if I would go back to Pong. I would definitely go back to Nintendo. I wouldn't go back to Atari or Commodore.
I don't know if I would go to Nintendo, like original NES. I don't really consider Mario a couch co-op game.
Yeah, but you could. So couch co-op is in that there's, you know, two players and one person goes and the other person goes, or couch co-op is that they're both on the screen at the same time, or
that's the debate.
So listen, for me, it would absolutely be pretty much not any Super Mario, because Super Mario 2 is just a hot piece of flaming garbage. But the first Super Mario, Mario 3.
You don't like Super Mario 2?
You do?
I fucking hated that game.
The Lost Worlds one that you could only get on the fucking Super All-Star one?
No, the actual.
No, the Dream one.
Not that one. Yeah. The fucking radishes and the rocket ships, Cameron.
Okay, yeah.
Was it Wart, right? That was Wart?
So,
nightmare of an experience.
So, like Super Mario 3, any of that style, yes, absolutely. Where player 1 was Mario, player 2 was Luigi. Definitely Sonic the Hedgehog, you know, where the later ones where you could play as Sonic and Tails. Mortal Kombat, I think, absolutely kind of solidified that. And I'd probably go for like the original, the Sega Genesis X-Men too. What couldn't you have 2 players in that? Wasn't that 2 players? I seem to recall.
No, I don't think it was.
There was a side scrolling. I think
there was 2.
Well, I know there's the classic one that we all know, right? The arcade one, right? So I'm gonna there was that one, but
that didn't come out for console.
There was it didn't.
I don't think it did.
Well, there was a similar one that came out for Genesis, but it wasn't like the arcade. It was similar in some regards.
You play as Gambit. You can pick Gambit as a character.
Yeah.
And the first level is like it's in like a jail cell.
It's like the jungle something. They're in
the one that's the one you start off when it's snowing. Right? There's 2.
We're old.
Yeah, I know. There's 2 X-Men. One starts off in the snow, and the game doesn't even give you like a fucking start screen. You just turn the game on, you're just in the snow, and it's like, what? Like, what is happening right now? And then there's the one where you can like summon like Nightcrawler and he'll like show, or you can play as him. And
so that
you summon. I don't think that was co-op.
I vaguely recall one of them being again, this is also 25 years ago, so
I'll look right here, but I definitely think you got to put GoldenEye on that list.
Yeah, but that was more competitive, man. Like, I mean, if we're talking about experiences that you can share with your friends on your ass at home, GoldenEye is obviously going to be up there regardless because it was one of those games that just, I mean, Nintendo did one of the best things Nintendo ever did was like, here's 4 controller ports on your console. You want 4 people to play your game, like I mean, and those late night GoldenEye nights that will. My God, if you pick fucking Odd Job, I'm gonna bitch slap you across your face.
Yeah, that was such a bullshit move.
My God. But
yeah,
like loaded up stack with fucking proximity mines and just waiting and baiting out your buddy, like and just having the whole friggin' frame rate crash because of all the explosions going off, even and then Perfect Dark after that. Like it was just that experience, that game, those 2 games, are probably in the upper echelon of games that you experience with your friends on your ass. There was very little else that ever touched that. Another game that actually comes to mind though, and I'm going to go jump platforms here, and I'm going to say Twisted Metal was another experience that was a lot of fun.
The second one.
Yeah, Twisted Metal 2, and that was a lot of fun to play with your friends. Mario Kart. And then the traditional side scroll beat 'em ups, and I think currently, in the last 10 years, maybe even longer than that now, but I mean, Castle Crashers did an excellent fucking job of a game that you can play with your friends, if it's online or on the couch. That experience was just, it was very nostalgic, very fun, and just bringing people together in a way that the arcades used to.
And just so you know, Jason, both games were somehow co-op. I couldn't figure out how, but they were. Matt, you've been kind of quiet the past couple of topics here.
So I'm listening because I mean I can say I can make a lot of comments, but in truth it's going to be a lot of rehashing. So it's just easier to kind of sit and enjoy. But I mean, trying to pick this Mount Rushmore, I mean that's tough. And that's a really fucking hard question. But yeah, GoldenEye, I have ridiculous memories of GoldenEye. I mean that sticks out absolutely as being one of the better couch co-op games. And I know there's another game that I remember from the Sega Genesis that it's technically competitive, but I think I just remember it being a fun, like multiplayer kind of experience was, I'm definitely dating myself, Tiny Toons All-Stars.
Oh, dude, that game was sick.
Game was so much fucking fun. When you're playing basketball and you're picking your dream team with like Monty Max and he's fucking driving in his little car with his super across the fucking map. Like that shit was fun. But it's just picking the 4 or the whatever heads that would go up there is too tough. I mean, there's plenty of experiences from my childhood in terms of couch co-op, but for me, generally speaking, I've always favored more of the single player experience. That's why it's a little bit more difficult for me to fully comment on it. But GoldenEye, though, running around doing slaps and everybody's just fucking karate chopping the shit out of each other.
I mean, I think the big thing too is like, where did it end? Like, would you say Wii Sports was the last good one?
No.
What would you say?
I think we're still for like togetherness with people on the couch in the same house. God, I mean,
there is one VR game that you have to play co-op. It's like one guy sits he looks like a bomb and he has to like tell everybody what the bomb looks like. I think it's called like something that everyone help out and everyone blew after. I have it.
It's keep talking or everyone dies.
Yeah, and everyone has like a panel, like a packet, and you have to look through the packet. And the guy's like, okay, top square. It looks like a fucking coding. It's like it's actually pretty fun, and it's if you have everybody there looking at it, it's a good time. But
I mean, I play Among Us with the Discord I'm in, and that shit is fucking wild and out of control. And I've known some of these people for years, and you think you know somebody until they're a friggin' murderer, and they lie through their fucking teeth. It's like, oh my God, you son of a bitch. But like that experience, that's the game. Like a game like that requires no skill, right? And it's so much more dependent on how well you can read someone else, and that is something I don't think we've really ever seen in a video game to give that kind of experience. It's not so much based off of your gameplay skill as it is so much as how well can you fool people. Like that's fucking awesome.
I've never played it.
Dude, you would enjoy
I watched people play it.
You would enjoy yourself. It literally you just gotta lie. which isn't your strong suit, but
no. Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes back to the couch co-op, like I think that I think it kind of died at the Wii U. My personal opinion. Like, there's not a game like I'm gonna go like, hey, let's go buy this game and go back and sit at my house. Like, I remember like going to Toys R Us when you were a kid, and all it was like a little flip, and it had like a little card. You had to pull the card up, and you'd run to the guy in the fucking box, and you'd give him the card, and you had to pull the. He sat like the front door of Toys R Us, and he'd give you like the fucking game, and you'd go home with your friends, you'd rip it open, and you'd all grab a controller. Because I think at one point Sega had 4 inputs, didn't it?
I mean, I think every 16-bit console had a multi-tap or a multi-control thing. Dreamcast had 4. I know that for a fact.
I know that did. That definitely.
I don't know if Saturn did.
I never had a Saturn.
I don't think anybody really had a Saturn. I think that was the problem.
Well, valid. But hell, I mean, if fucking Atari can make a system come back, I guess who knows? Maybe Sega can come out with something new. But the other thing too, which just kind of goes back, which I noticed, which I was doing this yesterday because I was trying to play Captain America and the Avengers. I have it on my Super Nintendo, but I also
is that the one? That's the one with Vision, right? White ass Vision.
Yeah, he looks like fucking Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And I have the cartridge version for my Super Nintendo, but I also have it on my emulator, and on the emulator you can pick the arcade version, which I don't remember there being an arcade version of this.
Yep.
And the regular Super Nintendo version. Do you guys think the arcades version looked better? Because I thought it looked better than the NES version, NES version.
Most arcade cabinets looked better than a console because they had better hardware in the arcade cabinets than they did on the home console, for sure.
All right, because I just want to make sure it wasn't just me. That was like
no. One of the big things that I'll reference out about that is Killer Instinct. You know, I know it came out on Super Nintendo. I'm not going to use that point, but the second one was released on 64, which was obviously a much better piece of hardware. But if you put the two side by side and you looked at them, Killer Instinct 2 still the arcade machine was light years ahead of the actual home version on the N64. But I think the arcade games always look better than their home counterparts for what Matt said, the hardware.
And it seems like too, like just going back to the arcade thing real fast, it seems like the big thing that you see in arcades now is just like, oh, here's the new Walking Dead shooter. Oh, here's like Time. I think it stopped Time Crisis. If they are, they're probably like fucking 50 now. Time Crisis 50 or the fuck
like Land Before Time.
Yeah, but like these, like you just go in there and you see like these new huge cabinets where like I didn't catch it, but you just you go in, you just like sit in these fucking cabinets now, and you have like they all have the same stupid stationary gun. I know at one point they had that one like cop shooter where you were supposed to put your feet on the ground, obviously, and you're like you'd move. You know what I'm talking about? You'd move back and forth, and the guy on the screen would move.
Time Crisis?
No, Time Crisis. You stepped on the pedal.
Yeah, if you wanted to reload
or duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, there's the other one. You just stood in place, and if you registered your fucking body movement, because they had the one idea. The game that's out, I think it's out at Dave and Buster's, where you shoot like an airsoft gun at the screen instead of fucking like I don't know. You shoot out like a freaking almost like a projector screen and it registers it. But I don't know. It's weird. But I guess we're not gonna get the answer today of the founding fathers of couch co-op. But obviously the big thing is it would be nice to see it again. But like you kind of said before, like everybody in the 16-year-old and up generation right now is pretty much like their couch co-op is online.
TikTok, Snapchat,
Fortnite. And it's just literally sitting there getting a Xbox subscription or a PlayStation subscription and playing with your friends. There is no more like, hey, come over, I got this new game, let's fucking play it. And like you said, what would be the benefit of them making a Turtles in Time 3? I think they made a second one. I think it was called something else though. But and having it exclusively to an arcade cabinet rather than having it at your house, I do think you'd make more money. The arcade would make the money. Obviously, you're buying you're buying the cabinet. I don't think you're paying rights after you own the cabinet. I could be wrong. I have no idea how that works. I'm assuming they just buy it and then that's it. But like you said, with America, like with Yestercades, you go, you pay a flat fee, and all the games are free for however long you're there for, an hour, and then it turns off. So, the moral of the story is without liquor and without food, your arcades are probably dead, unfortunately.
Agreed. I'll agree with that.
But before we get to our final topic today, here's a quick word from Me Moms, our sponsor.
Why Am I a Nerd podcast network has been brought to you by our sponsor, Me Moms. The best breakfast and lunch down the Jersey Shore with 3 great locations in Wall Township, Middletown, and Brick, New Jersey. Me Moms specializes in unique and fun takes on your traditional lunch and breakfast items. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find more information at www.memoms.com.
Bro, guess who is so fucking easy, I realized. And I feel like it was so much more difficult when we were kids.
Well,
You said like
wasn't that game made for like the 6-year-old to 7-year-old market?
yeah, but
Cameron?
that game's fixed, and I'm gonna tell you why it's fixed. Because if you have a female character and the person says, "Hey, do you have a female character?" and you say yes, you knock over like 30 of the 34 characters. There's like 4 women in that entire fucking game.
Yeah, but there's also 4 or 5 that have glasses, 4 or 5 that are bald. You know what I mean? Like,
you shouldn't. But the women's character like knocks it all over. It's over.
but it's the same question. It's just a different character trait. You know, is your
I don't know.
character is your character bald? Yes or no? No. Okay.
Yeah, but there's only 2 people that are bald.
Mm-mm.
I'll get the game right now.
Okay.
I should have said that before. The other game too I was thinking about as I was taking a quick break was we're back by the way. Remember Bomberman 64?
That shit right
Yeah.
there. Dude, I played that on Super Nintendo. Man, oh man, I broke a controller in my day on that one.
Dude, Bomberman 64 was really good, and they just like never were able to like.
They had one
Fix that.
come out for the new generation, but it wasn't
I know what you're talking about. Then they had the one that like the guy looked like he was from fucking like Tron, like something like real ridiculous. But anyway, moving on.
Like Rinsler.
So this was a text obviously sent from Justin. Has the greatest game ever actually been made? And in the text, Justin did say yes. Justin did say the greatest game has been made. He looks a little preoccupied right now, but for the record, what he's claiming is the greatest game is Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
Explain, because
I'm gonna have to segue to Matt at the moment.
Okay. Well, okay. So should I say what my favorite game is, or should I say
no,
what
has the greatest game ever been made?
In truth, no, because that's a fucking totally subjective thing that's a totally subjective question.
Well,
But
definitely not Chrono Trigger.
in the defense of Justin, no, Chrono Trigger is a very good game. It truly does fall into one of the best games ever made because it really was, given its medium and where the console that it came out on, it truly transcended its own existence. It was one of the most ridiculous.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was,
The game's
it
about
really
time
was
travel, guys. That was a
incredible.
pun.
It was like,
that was a little pun.
it had fucking choices. It had consequences. Like there was like that game was so, for a fucking Super Nintendo game to take like 60 hours was kind of like fucking crazy. For a game to take that long back then was crazy. The combat was incredible. There was a phenomenal story to it. Just everything about it was really good. Do I think it is the best game ever made? No, I don't think the best game ever made has happened or will happen because at the end of the day, it is a fucking subjective thing to say what the best game of all time is. I can't answer this question as to what, like, if I was to have to be gun to my head, what's the best game of all time? I can't answer that question. Absolutely not. I'll take the bullet.
Chrono Trigger holds a 96% game rankings. The Super NES version, the DS version has a 92%, and the Metacritic for the DS version has a 92%. IGN gave the original SNES version a 9.5. GamePro gave it a 20 out of 20. Game Informer gave it a 9.25, and European Gaming Magazine, which I don't even know if it's around anymore.
EGM,
gave it a 37 out of 40.
I'm gonna say, hold on, I'm looking up one other score.
I mean, I'll be honest, I've never played Chrono Trigger, but I'm not smart enough to play it.
But you didn't play Final Fantasies. You didn't play the Japanese RPGs, really, though, did you?
No.
Yeah, so that's not in your wheelhouse of games that you would have ever picked up. I rented it from my local video store on accident one day, and I got about 5 hours in, and I hit a wall, and I said, "Fuck this! I'm done with this." And then like almost a year went by, and I rented it again, and obviously I had to restart my game because you're renting it, and I freaking got past that part I was stuck at, and then the whole freaking game opened up, and I was like, "This shit is fucking amazing," and I held on to it until I beat it, and like ever since then. It's one of the games I still go back and play at least once a year. I have it on my DS. I have it on my computer. I have it on my fucking tablet. So I can sit in bed with my Xbox controller connected to my tablet and fucking play it.
So there was also the game. Now, I don't. Again, this is just staying on the Chrono Trigger. Well, Jason, were you a Chrono Trigger guy?
Never played.
Okay. Yes, we're on the same. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you remember Secret of Mana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin, did you just mute?
No, I am muted. I am muted.
Was that similar to Chrono Trigger?
They're both Japanese RPGs made by the same company.
Made by the same company.
Was it?
Put out around the same time. Yeah, I mean, Square, all they did was make RPGs. Like, that's all they did. So, like, I mean, you're talking about Final Fantasy VI, which is actually 3 in the US version. Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, all these games were just like juggernauts.
They were all turn-based?
Yeah, they were all
turn-based. Not Mana wasn't speaking turn-based.
No, Mana was real-time, I think.
That
was co-op, too. That was actually co-op.
I'm looking at the picture right now, and I'm like, I should actually go play this.
Excuse me. Yeah, I think there's a collection out now.
Yes, it's for Switch.
Well, they also remade it, too.
Yeah, there's one for iOS. You can get it on the app.
They're making everything these days except for fucking Chrono Trigger. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Be careful what you wish for, Justin.
I know.
Be careful what you
what I
wish
wish.
for.
I know. Because like, as much as I would love to see it, as much as I cherish this game, if they remake it, no.
But how did the Secret of Mana PS4? I didn't even know it came out for PS4. I know they remade it, to be honest with you. I don't know how well it scored. I'm assuming it's probably not I can look it up right now. It got 62% on Rotten on Metacritic. So, or no, that's the original one. I don't know about the PS4. But well, they did make Chrono Cross.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Which oddly enough got a perfect score from I think GameSpot or something. Which you see Matt's face. That's the vomit coming up right now from it. Chrono Cross. It even to call it a sequel is not. It's not accurate. Chrono Trigger deals with time travel on a very basic level. Chrono Cross deals with parallel dimensions and universes. Kind of similar, space and time. Got it, cool. But Chrono Cross didn't have any returning characters. I mean, you could argue that it does, but I'm just going to say it doesn't, just for the sake of conversation. But it was not the same experience as Chrono Trigger. It was, if you wanted more Chrono Trigger, you weren't getting it. Just go start New Game Plus on Chrono Trigger and play it over again, and then again and again and again, because you got like 15 endings you got to do anyway. So like
they've never even tapped on a Chrono Trigger like update, have they?
Nope. There have been fan projects over the years, but they've all been shut down and issued cease and desist orders by Square.
I mean, you can get Chrono Trigger on Steam right now for $17.
Yep. Your tablet version or your smartphone version is the same experience that you're getting on Steam. They ported it over and they updated it. And when it originally came out, all the textures were fucking off. All of the sprite bitmaps were all off, and they fixed all of that. Thank God. But
on the Steam version.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. If you look at the reviews, you can see from when it first came out, and then they released an update months after the fact to fix everything. But even the smartphone versions, smart device versions, had the same issue when they ported it.
So Jason, you didn't play Chrono Trigger because it just isn't your style of game, or like for me, it's just not my thing. Like I would get lost.
So I like the Japanese RPGs. That was just like never seeing that just never really like interested me enough to say, hey, I want to try it.
Yeah, because I remember watching my friend play Chrono Cross back when it was out. I think it was a PS1 game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm, it was.
And I was like, this just looks like Final Fantasy in every single way. Between that, Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and then
In that era, though, I also was very selective at what I had to buy because I was, 18 years old. I was living on my own. I had bills, and I needed to budget quite a bit more than I needed to do. Like as I've gotten older. So I mean, there were just some games that I just look at, and if it didn't like grab my attention right away, I just said, yeah, no, I'm not spending the $50 at the time to get it. So. I'm not saying I wouldn't like it for $17 now. I'm going to look on Steam and, check it out.
And then real quick, what was we talked about this, I think last week we were here because we had the week off last week, conflict of schedule. Matt, what was the game you were talking about with the front covers, like the guy in like the red, the green, there's like a chick and they have like the wing, like the
Legend of Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon. Like that was another game I remember watching my friend play like religiously, and I don't again that was another. Was that a sequel or something? It was
Not
just,
that I know
it was
of.
just a standalone game, and they just I don't think they ever made a second.
So.
I don't think they made a second one or anything like that.
Not
But
to my knowledge.
if they took that game though, I think, and if they made it into what they did with like the Final Fantasy, especially this new Final Fantasy game coming out, which out of all the Final Fantasy games definitely has my attention, which I'm surprised by because I'm not really a big Final Fantasy guy. I think they could do a lot of cool things with that. But that pretty much does it here for us today. I don't know where Justin went. He seemed to disappear for a.
Might have been baby problems.
Oh, yeah. Well, we already know he already spilled the fucking coffee. So, but once again, Jason, I meant to. Oh,
yeah.
There we go. Our first 5-panel show.
So Cameron, real quick, can we talk about this?
It's coming back already. I told you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
It was a
Cameron shaved just before the show started, and it's already started growing back.
Yep. Bro, put it this way, real quick story. First of all, Steph lost her shit because I didn't tell her I was shaving. I thought she was gonna cry hysterically. And then, true story, I was sitting at me mom's at the counter by myself with my friend Sam, talking to her. My mom walks in, looks me dead in the eyes, and just continues to talk to the employees. I'm like, what? And she's like, can you make me a drink? And nothing. Look at me at the counter. I'm like, walks past me, walks back to the front, says nothing to me. I'm like, hi, Ma. She was like, what? Like, lost her shit in the middle of the dining room. Had no idea it was me. She's like, I just saw you 2 weeks ago for Thanksgiving. You had a full beard, and I haven't seen your face in like a year. I honest to God didn't recognize my own son. Everybody in the restaurant was like, why is this woman like losing her shit right now? So I look a bit different. So, and I also realized that I have no fucking chin. I think I need neck sculpting. I don't know. I already got fake teeth and fake eyes. Might as well cut my neck next, but whatever. Anyway, once again, this is Why Am I Nerd since Alpha to Goal. Where you can follow us on Instagram at Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd, and listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. Again, that does it for us today. Our thumbs down friend, we say hello. I wish you happy holidays. Well, I'll tell you that next week and the week after that, and the week after that. Until it's over, then I'll tell you something else. Or I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, I'm Cameron James. That's Jason Porter. Just the Vitaly and just Matt. Until next time, we're out.